Welcome back to Fox Explainer. Today I am going to show you a horror, supernatural movie from 2002 called Ghost Ship. Spoilers ahead. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Watch out and take care. The movie starts in the year 1962 on an Italian ocean liner named Grazia. A singer named Francesca is entertaining the guests who enjoy the night dancing with their loved ones. Amidst the crowd, a little girl named Katie sits alone because she doesn't have a partner to dance with. The captain of the ship notices this and brings her to the floor. The lively party quickly turns into a dreadful one when an unknown hand lifts a lever that tightens a wire cord. The wire then snaps and whips across the dance floor, bisecting the passengers and crew. Their bodies thump on the ground one after another, creating a bloodbath. The only person alive on the dance floor is Katie since the wire couldn't get her because of her height. The scene cuts 40 years later to the future. A salvage crew of 6 people is rescuing a random vessel from the sea. Captain Murphy leads his team and successfully brings the ship to the shore. The group then goes to a pub to celebrate, where an old friend named Jack approaches them. Jack works in the marine business, and he has heard about a ghost ship from 1962. There's a rumor that the ship has a chest of gold that's been missing for 50 years. The ship's contents belong to the person who brings it to shore. This makes the crew curious, so they use their salvage tug to go look for the ship the next day. After a few hours of traveling, they reach their destination, but there are no ships in the area, according to the tracker. They check to see if it's working right and decide that the report was made up. Just as they are about to turn around, they see a huge commercial ship coming toward them. Their boat crashes into the ship, but the impact does not do any damage. After thinking about who gets to go inside first, Jack and one of his crewmates, Greer, stay outside while the other 4 go inside. As soon as they get there, strange things start happening to the group. First, they hear strange noises. Then they see things moving in the dark corners. They say it's the wind and keep moving, but behind them, a Scrabble moves on its own and forms the words "Welcome aboard." One of the crew members, Munder, falls through a hole on the upper deck, but the only woman in the group, Maureen, saves him. Katie, the little girl, suddenly appears in the background as she tries to pull him up. She is gone in seconds, so Maureen doesn't have time to figure out if she is real. She's worried about what happened, but she doesn't tell anyone. A little farther on, the group sees a digital watch on the floor. Since these kinds of watches didn't exist in 1962, they think that someone else has been on the ship before them. Then, since the ship is so big, the captain decides to keep looking the next day. Jack goes up to Maureen when she's alone at night. He can tell she is nervous after saving Mund earlier. Jack is quiet for a few seconds after learning about the little girl. He seems to know something but isn't showing it. Instead, he suggests that Maureen sleep for a few hours to stop the hallucinations. The next day, the crew gets together to talk about what they should do next. They found that the ship is slowly sinking because its base is damaged. They decide to stay out on the water for 3 days to fix it, after which they will take the whole ship back to land. They go back to work in their different parts of the ship without wasting much time. In the meantime, Maureen is looking around and finds the swimming pool area. She notices bullet holes on the wall, which is strange because they were told that all the passengers drowned. She sees Katie again when she's trying to climb out of the pool. When she was startled, she fell off the ladder and started bleeding from her head, but when she looks back up, Jack is standing where Katie was a few seconds ago. The two leave without noticing that Maureen's blood is disappearing from the pool. Soon, the bullet holes start leaking blood, and soon the whole pool is filled with it. After that, Jack and Maureen check out the laundry room and find a door that wasn't on the ship's blueprint. When they open it, they are pushed by a force of water that also brings mutilated corpses out of the locked room. Both Jack and Maureen panic and try to get away. But the door they came through locked on its own, so they had to go further into the ship. In the meantime, Captain Murphy finds his way to the captain's lounge. He finds an open bottle of alcohol, but when he tries to take a sip, he sees the ship's real captain in the mirror. The glass drops and breaks before Murphy runs away in fear. Greer is just minding his own business when he hears someone singing. He has no idea that strange things are happening. It's Francesca, the same performer who was entertaining people on board in 1962. Greer looks for the sound but gives up after a while. What he doesn't know is that the woman is watching him walk away from behind. Somewhere else, Jack and Maureen find a chest filled with gold blocks. It is worth millions of dollars, which everyone on the crew can take home. They gather everyone and show them the treasure. Now, they don't need to fix the ship, so they can go home with only the treasure. In the next scene, everyone is loading gold into their boat. The mechanic, Santos, is cleaning the engines so that they are ready to go when they decide to leave. Behind him, someone deliberately lets propane out of a cylinder, which causes an explosion. It leads to Santos's death and the boat sinking. Everyone is shocked and saddened by the unplanned death, and now they are stuck on the ship until they can fix it. Just before the explosion, Maureen had seen Katie again. It looked like she was trying to warn Maureen about the explosion but was stopped by someone. This is enough for Maureen to look into who Katie is. She looks in the passenger registry to find out her room number. When Maureen walks into the said room, she screams in shock. Katie's rotting body is still hanging from the ceiling, proving that she died by hanging. After calming down, Maureen comes closer and takes a necklace off Katie's dead body. Her ghost appears in the room and asks for the necklace. Maureen tries to hand it to her, but it goes right through her palm. It is now clear to her that the girl is not a person. In the kitchen, 2 crew members find new meals. They don't question it before eating half of the food. At first, it tastes great, but after a while, they smell a horrible smell. After checking, they see that the food has turned into maggots. Both freak out and start throwing up in disgust. Then, there's Greer, who is in the ballroom. Everything is fine until all of a sudden, the place goes back to how it looked before the wreckage. The people at the party crowd around him and act like they are at any other party. Also, Francesca seems to like him more than she used to. Even though he has a girlfriend waiting for him at home, she flirts with him and gets him to kiss her. After the kiss, he is too far in to turn back. Francesca starts to take off her clothes while he follows her and tries to get to her room. But instead, he dies when he falls off a high platform. The pretty woman then shows her real, wrong-shaped face. In the meantime, Murphy is in the captain's room when all of a sudden, a bottle of alcohol starts moving on its own. When he looks at it closely, he sees that the captain of the ship is sitting in front of him. Murphy is shocked when the man gives him some alcohol. The captain isn't there to hurt him. He just wants to talk. He tells Murphy about a ship called Loreley that went missing. Graza found the Loreley ship when everything fell apart 40 years ago. This is the ship they are on now. But Graza went missing 2 days after he found the lost ship. After that, Murphy is given a picture that makes him feel very surprised. Katie and Maureen are talking in her room at the same time. The little girl tells them that everyone who died on the ship 40 years ago is still stuck here. Someone powerful is holding them to the ship, so they can't go to heaven. Now, the only way they can get out is if the ship blows up. Before Katie says who the powerful person is, the room's walls start to change colors. She gets scared and tells Maureen to run away, but then she goes away herself. Back near the pool, Murphy is looking for the rest of the group. He finally knows what happened to the ship and wants to get back to the shore as soon as possible. On the way, though, he is attacked by a group of Santos, including the guy who died in the explosion. When Maureen comes up to him, he thinks she is also the ghost of Santos because the hallucinations seem so real. He attacks her and tries to kill her in any way he can. Maureen is able to save herself by stabbing him in the feet. After a while, Jack comes and, for their own safety, knocks Murphy out. They locked him in a fish tank that had been cleaned out. The group no longer cares about the gold and just wants to get back to where they came from. Over the next few hours, they keep fixing the ship until they are finally done. Everyone is worried because Greer still hasn't come back from the lounge area. Maureen goes to look for him while the guys do some last-minute checks. She runs into Katie again, and this time Katie shows her Greer's dead body. This time, the girl is determined to show Maureen everything that happened 40 years ago on the ship. She touches Maureen, which takes her back in time. People are talking and laughing on the ship. But what they don't know is that the co-captain has convinced the whole crew to kill everyone on board for the gold they found earlier. Most of the people died because the cooks added rat poison to the food. Then there was the dance floor massacre. The last people who were still alive were shot in the pool. Katie was taken to her room and strung up to die. At last, the crew members ran to the treasure and started taking what they could, but the co-captain wouldn't let them. With Francesca's help, he shot each and every one of them. Before Francesca betrayed him and shot him in the head, they were the only 2 people left. It turned out that her real lover is a different man, and that he was also the one who planned the whole massacre. After killing hundreds of people, they kissed passionately, but that wasn't the end of the surprises. Francesca was killed when the man let go of a hook that's lashed into her neck and caught her. In the end, the man is revealed to be Jack. He is the devilish spirit of a dead sinner. His job is to get people to do bad things and kill themselves so that their souls will go to hell. Jack was the one who told them about the ship, so now Maureen understands everything. When Maureen saw Katie in the pool, He appeared out of nowhere. Also, he has been telling her to forget about Katie every time she has talked about her. Maureen suddenly remembers Murphy, but by the time she gets to the aquarium, Murphy has already drowned and died. She rushes to tell the others about the murderer on board. Munder is fixing something in the flooded engine room by using scuba gear. She wants to follow him, but when the pipes start to fill with blood, it shows that he has also died. It turned out that someone had pulled him into the gears and ground him to death. Now, only Maureen and the last crew member named Dodge remain. She asks him to watch for Jack while she puts explosives on the ship. But when Dodge and Jack are by themselves, Jack messes with Dodge's head and starts a fight. In a fit of anger, Dodge shoots him, thinking that he is dead. He then goes to Maureen, who just finished setting the explosives. He tells her that he killed Jack and that they can start a new life together using the gold. Maureen thinks about it for a moment, and then asks him why he hasn't asked about Munder, who has still not been found. Then it turns out that the person trying to make Maureen sin was actually Jack. As long as this boat is here, the souls will never be able to go free. Jack knows that Maureen is a good person, so he offers to spare her life in exchange for her not breaking his rules. In response, Maureen sets off the explosives. Jack and the whole ship are destroyed, but Maureen jumps off and saves her own life. She is struggling to get out of the water when Katie comes to help her. All the souls of those who died on the ship are finally set free. The next morning, Maureen is found floating on a box by a cruise ship, and she is saved. As she is being taken away in an ambulance, she sees a box of gold being loaded onto a cruise ship. Jack has been brought back to life in some way, and he wants to keep the cycle of sin going. When Maureen screams and the ambulance door shuts, the movie is over. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more and hit the like button to help me out, and also leave a comment if you want me to explain your favorite film. Until next time, take care.